Hey everyone. Wanted to do an update this week on what the powers look like now that I'm able to get the data at the minute level. So that started on January 28th that I've been getting power at the minute mark. So it's about 5 days worth of data that I've got. 2.5 kilowatts or about 500 watts a day is what I'm getting. Now, again, the sun isn't up as much as it would normally be. We've had some cloudy days in there as well. The days I was able to get power directly from the sun, I'm getting over a kilowatt on those days. So obviously there was a couple of days of good sun in there, and that was about it. So on a good day, I can get a kilowatt worth of power coming in. So that's the good side of it. The downside is that's 600 watts of panel out there, and 600 watts in an hour is 600 kilowatt hours. I got 2.5 kilowatt hours, so I'm not getting as much good sun this time of the year, and that gets back to our math question. All right, if I'm not getting as much power with the panels that I've got, then I have to have more panels to generate more power to make up for the difference, which then come good weather means that I've got more power coming in than I'm using. So it's that trade-off, that mark that you have to find. On the plus side, however, panels are inexpensive, right? They're about $100 a pop for a 100-watt panel, so it's about $1 a watt. The bigger panels can go up considerably from that ratio, but for the smaller panels, you're looking at about $1 a watt. So the downside, of course, you would say, is the size. Well, if you look at the larger panels, my 220 is almost twice the size of my hundreds. Right? They're huge panels. So as you go up in the power that the panel's getting, you're going up in size, which means more materials, which means more cost, obviously. The thing I like about having small panels is if a panel goes bad, you can just swap out that panel. You're taking a 100-watt panel out of your configuration as opposed to taking a 200 or a 400-watt panel out of that setup. It's easier to replace, they're easier to work with, they're easier to pick up and carry, and if you need to just bypass a bad panel, all you got to do is click a wire in to connect the next panel in line with the panel before it, and it's out of the mix. So it's easier to work with, from my opinion. It is more setup that you have to have because you've got more panels in the frame. There's more things to connect to the frame, but that's the only issue I've had so far. Again, though, it's January. We've had a lot of snow. We've had cold days. We just got a snow a couple of days ago. It hasn't been very sunny. So, 5 days, 2.5 kilowatts. Good amount of power coming in, but I've got a 12 kilowatt system. So it's keeping up almost with what I'm using to cook, because when I cook, I use about 30% of a 2 kilowatt unit. So we're not quite keeping up, but at least it gives me some power coming in. On the other side, the thing I've been doing a lot with the 3D printing right now is bird feeders. I found this particular feeder that is it says for feed or water. I don't know if anybody who's used 3D printing, but because of the micro gaps that happen layer to layer, if you 3D print and you put water in it, the water's going to seep out. So they're great for bird seed. For me, the best part about it is they're inexpensive. I can print up a new one if I need to. I have bear, I have raccoons, I have all kinds of things destroy all of my good wood and plastic feeders. I've got another feeder that I've got. It came in, it gets printed in 4 parts, which has a base, the center bin, a roof, and a support bar that goes through the entire unit to hold it together and to hold it up. And the thing I don't like about that, I don't have any clear material to print, so I can't really see if there's seed in it. It's see-through, okay? It's not that thick, but I can't really see how much seed's in there. But on the flip side, the bin's been lasting 2 or almost 3 days worth of seed for the birds. So it's been good from that perspective. This one that I've got, that, like I said, is an open format. I needed to make a small cup to put the seed in, something that would fit between the borders of the opening that I could pour seed in easily. That way I can just leave it up and pour seed in. Normal things that I've got were too wide, so I needed to make myself a cup for it. But I've noticed that the birds sometimes just sit in it, make them like a little nest in there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens come nesting season if one of the birds decides to go do something with that. I currently have 4 of these up. I have a PVC pipe setup that I use, and I needed to create a specialized hook to go over the top so that these could be held in place. I realized that that worked great with the birds on it, but when a squirrel climbed up and was on the PVC pipe and reaching down into the feeders, he was flipping the feeders off because those hooks that I had went over the PVC pipe and had a hook to hook these feeders on, but that was about it. I had designed them with a M3 screw hole already in place, so all I needed to do was go out and pop a couple holes into the PVC pipe so that I could put those screws in place, and everything's been holding up fine since then. I have 4 of these feeders up. I have 1 bin feeder up. Everything's been working great and makes a good use for the feeders. Depending on what you print them in, of course, you can paint anything you want on the outside, so they don't have to be these plain, whatever comes off the printer prints. And I've got a Krylon coating spray that I can go over the outside of them with to protect them a little bit. I'm using PLA. Now, as you know, PLA is not supposed to hold up under outdoor conditions, so we're going to see how this goes. These are just going to be out there raw, basically because they only take a couple hours to print and use, let's see, I don't have that data. They don't use that much material, so it hasn't been a onerous process to make these. Oh, there it is. 4.884 meters of filament gets used for making these. So it hasn't been too bad to make these. And again, like I said, my feeders get destroyed. So we'll see if that happens with these. I also get the ability by using the PLA for this to see how it's actually going to hold up outside. And it allows me to have a useful test case. And by that, I mean, I've got my PLA that I made for the actuators to cover them up and protect those motors. And I've spray painted those with a silver paint. By having these feeders, I can put different types of coatings on the different feeders and see how they hold up. The most critical part, of course, is going to be the hook at the top. There's a loop at the top of these things. And if anything were to fail, it would either be the hooks that I put on the pipe or the top of the feeder itself would probably be the most likely sources of failure. So we'll see how that goes. We'll just, I can do different types of spray paint and other protectants that I can put over these devices, and we'll see how they go. I've got 2 in a light tan color. I've got 2 in black, and I'll have 2 in white. So we can also see how the base colors hold up until I can get to the point of painting them, because I won't be able to paint them now until spring rolls around, and the feeders have less use on them right now because there's a lot of birds hitting my feeders constantly at this point, and that's with 4 of them out there. There's going to be 6. I'm going to have 4 of the open ones plus the bin, so I'll have 6 of the open ones plus the bin, and they're going to get hammered with birds at this time of the year. So I don't want to do anything with these feeders until I can start to take them offline one by one, and then we can paint them, and we can see how that holds up. So stay tuned for that. And that's what I got for you guys this week, and I'll talk to you next week.